So I will start with Patrick. And Patrick Mikhail. Patrick Mikhail is the director of the Patrick Mikhail Gallery here in Ottawa. And Patrick Mikhail is what I think a dealer would be if we made them in test tubes. There's a few things about Patrick.
How do you know he wasn't?
Patrick, I find mesmerizing when he's speaking. I think it's something to do with maybe how he dresses or how he talks. I'm not sure what it is. But what is particularly useful about Patrick as a dealer is that he is both the good cop and the bad cop. This man will start every conversation and end every conversation with me and probably everyone else with the words sunny or happy or cheery. But at the same time, a month ago, he took on the Toronto International Art Fair himself and won. So, okay.
I just want to say this is more people than I've seen since September. I'm a little freaked out by all this, so just, send me your love.
Now we move on to Peter Honeywell. Peter Honeywell is the Executive Director of the Council for the Arts in Ottawa. And if you don't know him, he knows you. And this is Peter's genius. I find that I can barely keep up with attending all the openings that are happening here in town, just in the visual arts alone. And Peter's mandate, from what I understand, is to do this with every single art form. And so for me, Peter is the exact opposite of the pokeroo. Every time you're there, he's there. I have seen him at every single function that I attend. It's a high-minded joke. So I guess the last thing I want to say about Peter is that what I do draw great comfort from is knowing that when I'm in my studio working, Peter is there in his office making sure that that can keep happening, and this applies to all of us here. And maybe we can applaud it too much. Now, Andrea Fitzpatrick. Andrea Fitzpatrick is an assistant professor in the visual arts at the University of Ottawa and somewhat newly arrived to the city. Andrea was formerly in New York as a commercial gallerist, and this was part of my reasoning in inviting her here, in that I thought there might be a nice comparison that could take place there. But also is that as an instructor, Andrea was incredibly compelling for me in my first term at the MFA. I liken her classes to a luge ride, but for the brain. When you would get on, and it would be exhilarating and intense and very dense and exciting, and you would come out a little tired and exhausted. And so, Andrea Fitzpatrick. And our last speaker is Heather Anderson, who is an assistant curator of contemporary art at the National Gallery of Canada. And personally, I know very little of Heather. We haven't met before tonight, and that was part of my interest in having Heather here on the panel. Is one, of course, because of your perspective from the National Gallery, but also that I was just interested in hearing what you might have to say. For me, Heather takes on the role of the Wizard of Oz, in the sense that I go to the gallery, amazing things happen, and I don't see this person who is behind the curtain pulling levers and pushing buttons. And so tonight I thought we could pull back the curtain to extend the analogy. Or is that a metaphor? Okay, so please join me in welcoming all the speakers.